Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. I was recently asked if I could do an in-depth eye tutorial for hooded or deep set eyes. And I have absolutely no training. I got nothing except years of whacking makeup on, but I do have very hooded eyelids, and they haven't always been very hooded, but they've always been hooded as far as I can remember. So when Carmel asked if I could do that, I said, sure, why not? She said she had no idea that my eyelids were hooded until I said something about it, which is interesting to me because, or maybe I'm just hyper aware of it. I did do some research because that's what I do. I assume I don't know what I'm talking about, so I need to figure it out. And from what I read, most people with hooded eyes also have deep set eyes, but not all deep set eyes have hooded eyelids. So there are some differences, and I only have my own eyes for any kind of like point of reference. So what I thought I would do is do my eyeshadow the way I do for my eyelids and explain what and why, and then maybe do the other eye the way somebody who doesn't have hooded eyelids would do their makeup and see if there's a significant difference. I assume there will be, but again, my eyes are super duper hooded, so that's what I'm planning to do today. I don't want this to come across as, you know, me thinking I'm a know-it-all, because I 100% do not. I just know how to put eyeshadow on my eyes, which are very, very hooded. I have this incredibly chubby, like, part that overhangs the rest of my eye. A lot of times it's just skin that kind of hangs down there as we age, but I've got some fluff added to the skin. So all right, I think I'm just going to get into doing this. I think probably the most important thing when doing your makeups, or your eye makeup anyway, is having the right size brushes. Because my eyelids are hooded, I like small brushes, like really small brushes. It gives me more control. It's better for placement. If you have a ton of acreage on your eyelids, feel free to use bigger brushes, but I do not. So my most favorite brush that I use almost every single time I do my makeup is the Refer 13. It's a very small blending brush, but it's what I use to do like my transition shade. So I'm going to use my Nomad Cosmetics Orient Express palette. Susan bullied me into using it like she does. So I think I've only used this a couple of times. I'm going to use it today for this, and then I'm going to use it as my Throwback Thursday this week. So spoiler alert, that'll be happening. And I'm just going to use the neutral shades and, you know, do something that I think is probably wearable, just in case you need to practice or follow along, or I don't know. I don't want to assume anything. I always just assume people know what I'm talking about, and I'm not actually sharing anything new or interesting. So, okay, I'm going to stop yammering. Generally speaking, for your transition shade, you want to go in with the lightest shade in your palette. For me, it's the Guilty 12 in this palette. And I'm just going to kind of work on like applying it up through the transition area. I don't always start with my transition area, but I do a lot of times. And you can't even see that. Okay, cool. Let me just... So on the other eye, you're not be able to see it, but it would be just above the crease is where you would put the transition area, or the transition shade rather. So You can't really see it, but it actually will end up helping to blend out the next shade if that one is tricky. So I'm going to go into Baby Grand, which is a mid brown shade, and I'm going to put that on my hooded eye for hooded makeups. And I'm raising my brow because it makes my skin more taut, but you don't have to right for this part. You can just, you know, start blending it through. This is my like transition working into my crease, because if I go with my crease color too high, it looks a little weird. But if I go in a bit lower, sometimes there's like a pretty stark jump between the transition and the crease color that I want. So I'm just going to use this as like my transition from my crease shade to my transition shade. Is it necessary? I don't know, maybe, but so we'll skip this step on, well, maybe I'll just take whatever's left just so you can see something through the transition area on this eye. There's a little something there. Okay, now I'm going to go into the darker brown called Nightcap, same brush. And I'm going to raise my eyebrows and just start putting this through my actual like crease area where like the bone stops and my eyeball starts. That's where your crease is if you don't have hooded lids. It's right in the socket. So you want it on the bone, but also just under where that bone is. Now, if I close my eyes, you can only see the very, very top edge of it. And that's why I start like this and make sure that it's showing. So now if I look straight ahead, you can see a hint of that brown shade, but not a lot. So I just go back in with a little bit more and, you know, raise your brows a little bit if you want to. Just remember where you're going and bring that higher up, which may mean that you need to bring the other shades up higher as well, which I do almost every single time I do my makeup. I have to adjust. So I'm just gonna clean this brush off a little bit and go back into Baby Grand, which was our second transition shade. And I'm gonna go just above where I put that darker crease shade and just blend that over a little bit. Now when I look straight ahead, you can see a bit more of the crease shade. So on the other eye, same brush, if I put that shade in my crease, like just my crease on my bone and then just underneath it, and blend it, and then I look at you, it's gone completely and totally. So this eye, because it's so much higher, it looks like I have a different crease. You can make this as dramatic or not as you want. I generally do pretty dramatic makeups. So I just went back in with a little bit more of Baby Grand. Nope, Nightcap. And then a bit more with Baby Grand, just to blend. I really enjoy the blending part. I got a lot on there, so I'm gonna on my towel and then just blend the edges. My gosh, this palette is beautiful. Susan was right again. That just blends so easily. Okay, so there's that. And then we want to pack on an outer corner shade, usually the darkest. So I'm going to go back into Nightcap, and because my eyes are hooded, I'm going to start up higher than my outer crease and lash line, lid, whatever. Words are hard. I'm actually filming this much later in the day than I had intended because I got super busy. So I'm deepening up my crease, my faux crease that I made, while adding it to my lid. You can just give it a little blend. So if I put the darkest shade on the other eye, just in my crease and my lid, that's all I'm gonna get out here, is that little bit, which, I mean, if you didn't see me put it there, you would just assume my hood is even bigger and causing more of a shadow. Does that make sense? Okay, now is the part where I think a lot of people get gun shy. I don't know what it's called, but because we were supposed to put the shimmer shade on our lid, that's where it goes. That's what we do. So how about I pick something? I'm gonna go with Istanbul, because why not? It's a gold, it's beautiful, and you'll be able to see it. So I'm just gonna go with dry eyeshadows. It's a really pretty gold. So I start in here on my lid and just above. So that way when I look straight, you can see the shimmer shade out here. So I'm gonna do that across my entire lid up to the brown. I'm gonna keep bringing it up that high. Like, I think that's where the scary comes in, because it is so high. Or a lot of times, it used to be, and I do say this because my eyes are hooded, my shimmer shades are gonna end up there anyway. It just looks cuter if I put it there on purpose. And that's why I started doing it, because I would put my shimmers here, and then the second I relaxed my eyes, they would transfer. So I just started bringing it up higher. And then if I'm looking straight ahead, it looks like, it doesn't look like there's a deep recess where all that eyeshadow disappears. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of space in here when I rest my brows. So now I'm gonna take the same dark brush without adding anything to it and just boop over the edge where the gold and the dark matte meet up. And then same brush, and I'm gonna go put it on the other eye, just on my lid. This is really hard for me to do because I haven't done it in so long. This is the mobile lid, the part that moves when you blink. I would definitely use way less eyeshadow if I did this. So there we go. Doing eyeshadow the way I would if I didn't have hooded eyelids versus the way I do because I do have hooded eyelids. So if I look down, I'm assuming you can see everything that's on my eyelid. When I'm doing makeup, I'll do this a lot. That way I can see and make sure like everything is where I want it to be, because when I close my eyes, I can't. And that means a lot of times it means adjusting this shape out here with my mattes, because, you know, if you're doing it like this and this part and this part don't line up, when you relax, it's gonna look jagged and weird. And a lot of times I'll intentionally do a diagonal which means in here has to have shadow on it. So when I do this, it might look a little goofy. It just, you know, like eventually you learn how to put on the mattes and the shimmers in a way that fits your eye shape. But the same principle is true whether you have deep set eyes or hooded eyelids. You want to bring everything up higher so that it looks more natural, like so you can see everything, and it tends to, like, from a distance maybe it wouldn't necessarily look like I have that deep crease in here. You know, maybe it just looks like I have smaller lids and that's where my lid stops. You know what I mean? Like it's all illusion, quite frankly. We're all just like playing fast and loose with the makeups. But this is definitely the eye I think looks better. I mean, this one I don't think looks bad, like at all. And if you like wearing your makeup like that, do it to it. But I like it on my left eye. So makeup for hooded lids, makeup for not hooded lids. So that's that. I don't know. And I also think like it's hard to tell like on camera, but in the mirror it feels like this eye is drooping down way farther than this eye, and it's not. Both eyes are, I mean, they're both very, very droopy, but because of where I put the eyeshadow, this eye looks raised up higher, like there's, you know, some lift there. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's so cool to me what you can do with makeup when you understand your face. Doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not a makeup artist. I could not look at somebody and say, oh, this is where you need to put your makeups. I mean, well, maybe I could a little bit. I could tell you where to do it. I just don't think I could do it for you. Yeah, because like structurally I know what I'm looking at and can make adjustments for that. Anyway, let me know if anything like this is helpful. If you want me to do something else, something more, something less, something different. I don't know. I just like playing makeups, and if I get a request, well then, I like that even more. So, okay, I should stop yammering and let you get back to your life, but I'm going to link Carmel's channel below because she's amazing and beautiful and lovely, and if you're not following her, you should. Maybe one more quick thing that I'll mention. If you have larger, puffy, chubby lids, or if your eyes are very deep set and this brow bone protrudes, a lot of times YouTubers, people doing makeups, will put highlighter all through here, which can actually make this part look even heavier. I do a little bit right here at like the highest point of my brow, just a little bit, because then it gives it a bit of a lift. If I do too much, it looks like my brows are trying to like slide off onto my eye. Like it looks like this part just wants to kind of take over everything like an avalanche. So yeah, okay, I think that was all the things I wanted to mention. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate you. Be good, and remember to be kind to you.